legal experts believe that the administration went in on this question of a nationwide injunction because they actually knew, as a lawyer, you don't lead with your worst argument. And their worst argument is the constitutionality of what they're trying to do. So the plain text of the Constitution is clear. Children born in the United States are American citizens, and they're looking for workarounds. And so I think the lawyers are smart to file so quickly, and to get that class certified seems very likely. And then it's really going to, advocates are going to need to make sure people feel comfortable joining the class and have education about that. So it is a new organizing challenge. It is more cumbersome. And that's why I said also, we can't panic yet. There may be a time to panic, and there may be a time for sort of greater protest organizing. I imagine that the healthcare system will really have to step in here in many of these states. But for right now, I'm confident in the class certification, and that tool is there, and the lawyers have been preparing for this scenario.
Andrea, I take your point that class certification is an option, and frankly, all of the concurring justices in the majority, they said that today. But it is cumbersome, and it does take time. And they said that they were specific about not rushing to class action without the tests being met, i.e., you just can't flip something and there wasn't a class action, make it a class action. That being said, and I throw this out to the group, and I guess, Mark, to you first. I'm not suggesting people panic, but I think the reality here is that in 30 days, if something else is not done, if you do not live in a state that was party to any of these suits, and your attorney general and your governor are Republican, because let's be very clear, now this is what we're dealing with. If you live in Texas, I think you should be concerned. And not just people who, quote unquote, look undocumented, because let's just be very clear, this is racial profiling. I mean, there might be a little light-skinned brown baby that's a little too light. And who decides who is a citizen at this point? What is the remedy? What is the mechanism?
That's why class actions are the only remaining tool in the kit at this stage. The issue, as we've discussed, is that there are booby traps all along the road to a successful class action, which the Supreme Court itself has set. And so there's going to be now this mad dash to get a class certified and to get a new injunction that applies to that class. I'm sure some of these great district court judges will do their job. They're very smart lawyers working on this right now. But what's going to happen? The district court rules, the appeals court rules, this goes right back up to the Supreme Court. And then maybe 30 days, maybe 45 days, SCOTUS is going to have to consider this issue all over again. It's going to have to deal with the class action issue, and it's going to have to get closer and closer to the merits. And this is the fundamental problem. No one can explain how Trump's order would work in practice. No one. Because the only reason that the vast majority of us have citizenship and can prove citizenship is because we were born here. When a child is born in America, the doctor doesn't demand the papers of their parents to ensure that they're a citizen or a green card holder. All they need is a birth certificate showing that they were born here. You, me, most people we know, we are citizens because of our birth. And once the government takes that away, once it introduces this wild, chaotic new system where it depends on your parents and you get punished if your parents didn't have the right papers, then everyone's citizenship is thrown into disarray. And advocates need to present that very clearly to the Supreme Court because, frankly, this conservative majority is very selective in its empathy. If it's only thinking about undocumented immigrants of color, then it might not look so hard at the 14th Amendment, and it might say, I don't really see a problem. But this is going to destabilize the fundamental right of citizenship for everybody. It is going to create massive downstream consequences in a really horrible and unworkable way. And so I hope that in this next round of litigation, the Supreme Court doesn't try to duck this merits question and takes a long, hard look at what will happen if Trump tries to implement this order, because it's chaos all the way down.
Michael,